All right, guys, welcome to our Monday morning agency call. Today is February 1st already. The month of January is already gone. We are 1/12 of the year completed. It's crazy, right? 12 months in, 12 months to go in a year, 1 month done, right? So let's talk a little bit about our numbers. Obviously, our numbers are a scorecard. And that will tell us who's going to work and how much work you're really doing, right? So let me pull this up real quick. All right, first off, we're gonna go over our submit numbers for this last week, you guys. We had our record-breaking submit week. So record-breaking submit week for all of us. Let me share the screen here. All right, so last week, FFL Republic, we had 37 agents go to work and write business. So 37 agents wrote 135 applications for $190,890 in premium written in 1 week. Great job to you guys. I'm gonna shout out everybody over 8,000, the top 10 last week alone. So Andrew Graham with 8,019, Sean B with 8,117 here in the office. Josh Hall here in the office, 8,296. Great job, Josh. Erica, 9,747, also in the office. Great job, Erica. Nate F, 10,030. Josh M, also here in the office with us with 11,343. John McConnell here out of Arizona, 12,618. Darla O, 13,222. Myself, 16,645. And number one last week with a big week, John Kennedy, $41,384 last week. So great job last week to everybody that went out and put protection in place. That's really what we're here for, guys, right? It's a matter of putting protection in place. Now, we talk about those numbers, and those numbers at the end of the day, all they mean is we have submitted an application for a client, right? We submitted an application, and most of our applications do get approved, right? Because 95% of what we do is called simplified issue, right? Which means your business is getting approved in the home, most of it. Sometimes it does, and sometimes we have to do some other types of policies. So what really is the most important number is not what is submitted, it's what's issued, right? So now we're gonna turn our attention to what has actually issued 3 weeks into the month of January. So 3 weeks into the month of January, and we have issued 300, actually this number here is wrong. I actually used I pulled out the wrong image. We're actually at 300 and, a little over 340,000 issue paid. So a little over 340,000 issue paid with 163,000 going to FFL Guardian and 109,000 going to FFL Vertical. And just to shout out the top 5, we'll do the top 4 since I'm number 5. So number 4, Darla with 19,106, Josh M with 21,110, Nate F with 33,117, and Clay Sweet being number 1 for the month with 33,501. Great job to everybody last month or this month, 3 weeks into the month. And we got a bunch of new top producers coming on board, a bunch of people reaching that 20K threshold. Not only, not only have they not been here for a long time, but they're just coming in and running the system and finding success very, very quickly. All right, a few things I want to talk about. There is a new website that has been created. You may have seen the communication, came out today. If you guys haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. I'm going to kind of give you guys a quick tour. It's ffl.americo.com. This website is everything Americo and everything Family First Life America, okay? So the purpose of this is to give us as agents all the information, all the tools we need without having to go into their back office and log in and get the information or call customer service. The goal is to simplify what we do, okay? Simplify what we do, get what we need so we can go out there and do what's most important and spend the most time with our clients, because that's how we're generating business. Another key thing I want to note here is we have 17 weeks left in the current You First reward qualification period. If you guys don't know, $45,000 in issue paid business over a 6-month period will get you an 8% bonus. So you get a free bonus check for 8%, okay? So if you do the math, 45,000, 8%, your minimum, I believe, is right around $3,200 or so, just for doing your job, just for putting protection in place and leading with Americo. That's the one thing I think we as an organization, FFL Republic, need to get better at, is leading with Americo. Why? For a few different reasons. One, they're very lenient in terms of what they accept. Two, they're a great company to work with. I always tell our clients that's our platinum provider. So if they have the opportunity to get approved with Americo, it's in their best interest. Three, we get paid fast, right? And protection is in place fast, right? And then on top of all that, they're giving us a bonus to make it even that much sweeter. So if you're not leading with Americo, guys, you're making your life a little bit more complicated, more than likely. And then number two, you're probably even making less money than you really ought to be making. So, and one thing, I'm going to give you guys a quick tip. If this is maybe your first week, you're new, or maybe you haven't been here and you're not sure how to leverage it. One thing that I would do is, if sometimes you're in a situation you're uncertain, maybe you're calling your manager, you can't get them on the phone, you're not getting a response in the in-home help channel. One thing that I've done in moments like that is I say, hey, Bob and Mary, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can get you pre-qualified real quickly, just to see what options we have. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them with Americo. I'm going to know if I'm leading whole life or term. And I'm going to see if I can get them approved through the MIB check. Right? I'm going to make sure that there's no red flags on their MIB and their prescription history to see if I can move forward with Americo. Because if we get a decline right there, well, we know we have to pivot. So a lot of times I go that route and I say, oh, okay, looks like we got you through the pre-qualification. So let me kind of go through the different options we might have for you. And now you can show them some numbers and some options, but you're already, a third of the way through the application just by doing that real quickly. Okay. So take advantage of that, guys. Take advantage of Americo. Take advantage of this new website. Go in there, poke around. If you need to order supplies, you can do that here. I mean, there's just a wealth of information. But Americo has to be the way that you guys are leading for a number of reasons. Best for the client, best for you as the agent, and then C, best for you as an agency owner in terms of profitability. Okay. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is what is really on everyone's mind, convention, right? And so let's talk a little bit about convention. Obviously, the convention is coming up. That is only a few days away. What's today? Monday. Convention is on Thursday. This is the biggest event of the year. We've had, as you guys know, we have 7 different locations where we're having the event. Only 2 locations have space left to date right now. One being here in Phoenix, the other being in Miami, Florida. Both are almost sold out. So if you have not registered, go ahead and register. If you have registered, what I would highly encourage each of you to do is tell a friend, tell a family member, get someone to the event to go with you. There's no obligation. They're not being charged for anything. It's a wealth of free information. And if they like what they hear and they want to get started with us, great. If they don't, that's fine too, but get them around the fire, right? You get people around the fire, they're going to want a piece of it. All right. And, sometimes people are going to come up with excuses. Help them get out of their own way. Help them understand that the only way you grow in life is to get new information. Have them come to our event, whether they're a part of our company or not, have them get new information, and they can make a decision based on what they see there. So guys, make a goal. We talked about this last week. Make a goal of finding 3 to 5 people. You can literally find one person a day to go with you over the next few days. It's not that hard. right? You talk to enough people, if you can't find one person a day to join, you're probably not trying hard enough when it comes to that, okay? Last thing I'm going to share with you guys as it relates to convention and what is going on. You're on here today. Most of you guys are with our team, which is FFL Republic. If you're not with our team, you might be with one of our affiliate teams that are hosting a meet and greet. And so we're having a meet and greet next Thursday, February 4th, after the first day of convention. It's at a restaurant called Enchiladas. I definitely said that not as good as it probably should have been said, but it's a Mexican restaurant. We're going to be hosting some food, some music, and we're going to have an award ceremony. It's going to be a good time to meet top producers, top managers, and give you an opportunity to really rub shoulders with people. And a lot of this business is networking and learning from people that have come before you. So this is a great opportunity for you to come on board, learn, and meet the people that are doing what you want to do, and you know, work with who you want to work with. That's the beauty of this business, right? Is we have the ability to work with who we want to work with. And with that said, I want to bring on Stephen Yee. Some of you guys might know Stephen. Stephen is an executive vice president of FFL SkyPoint. He is a 2020 Hall of Famer. And, you know, one of the great things about this business is working with people that we like to or want to work with. And I've had the opportunity and privilege to work with Stephen. We kind of got connected early on in this business. And him and I have been running mates in terms of production and now kind of agency building. And so, Stephen, pleasure to have you on, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me, bro. Sorry, I don't know if you guys see, I'm like typing and messaging, dude. I'm working on this side. So glad to be on and share some stuff with you guys. I'm excited because Julius returned the favor and did that with our group, and we picked up quite a bit. So if you guys are on here, and nice leaderboard, by the way. Your graphics are looking awesome. Clay Sweet, #1. It's like, do we expect anything different? Like, that's awesome. So nice job.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you. Well, good to have you on. And kind of want to talk about convention today, right? So you and I have had the opportunity to attend a few conventions. Let me ask you this, Stephen. What are your thoughts about a person that decides to not attend convention for whatever reason, but they plan on making this kind of their career, or they're doing this full time? What's your thoughts on that?
So I'll share with you what we say in our group. And granted, so, you know, with you guys work with Julius, so you know, take it how you please. But with our group, we literally have told people, it's like, if you don't go to conference, which is your own decision, you're not going to be here a year from now. I can almost promise you that. You know, a lot of new agents come and work with us at Family First Life, and they don't know the difference between us and the next company and the next company after that. You don't know, because all you see is numbers. You just go, oh, Family First Life pays well, training's free, no fees, all that. Like, you know that, but you don't know anything else. When you go to conference, what you see is like who we are, as in like how selfless our company is. Donated over like $300,000-$400,000 to the Dream Center to provide food for homeless vets and such, right? You get to see us donate like a ton of money to Make-A-Wish Foundation and, you know, Paradise Football, where their entire city burned down, and our CEO basically flew in and handed them a check to build their weight room and stuff like that. Like, you don't get to hear all that, because I wish we did talk about it more, but like, you don't actually get to see that stuff. And the other thing too is like, you don't get to see the people, right? So like, you guys work with Julius and Grady, you guys are a big agency, but some of you guys have probably never met them in person because they are a nationwide agency. When you get to go see them in Phoenix, you guys get to build the relationships that are literally right then and there. Like I joked around and said it, you know, we hired Colton Dewar on our team. We hired him in May. Mm-hmm. Colton wrote $290,000 last year from May to December, and I haven't even met him. Like, I want to say hi to the guy for the first time. You guys see what I mean? Like, some of you guys haven't met the person that you guys have hired. That's another big deal, is to be able to build those relationships and actually see some people besides just in the workspace, right? So the knowledge that you're going to get at conference is a big deal too. So like, picture everything that you can possibly learn in Family First Life, and you shrunk it in 3 days. That's what conference is. So like, I've always said this, like, if I wanted to go learn from Andrew Taylor, I would have to fly into Vegas, right? It cost me a lot of money. I had to fly in, get a hotel, get a rental car. And then if I wanted to learn from Julius and Clay and and Nate and Grady and all you guys, I would have to fly into Phoenix, get a rental car, do the same thing. And then if I wanted to learn from like, for example, Will Lore, I have to go into New Mexico. And if I wanted to learn from like Matt Smith or somebody, I have to fly into, like, I would have to fly all over just to learn from people, right? However, at conference, we're all at the same place.
Yep.
I get to fly to one spot and get to pick your brain and be able to learn from the same people I want to learn from, but all in one spot. That's why you go to conference.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. I looking back at the different conferences that I've attended, I've picked up so much from so many different people and hearing so many different perspectives and how they work this business. And there's, we all kind of do the same thing, but there's a few different ways to actually slice it up, to make it you and kind of find your style and your approach. Right. So I definitely think conference helps you find that and kind of fine tune it even. What are some things you think that an agent's first time coming to conference, some things that they take for granted or they don't do properly to make sure that they get the most out of conference?
Well, Julius, that's a great question. I wish conference actually cost something. Granted, Sean will never do it, but like, I wish people actually pay like $5,000 because the information that you're going to learn is going to be worth way more. Right. And it's just, here's what I've always told people. It's like, it's awesome that it's free, but it's also not, because there's not enough value attached to it. Right. Like, I'll share this with you. Like, 2 years ago, I was sitting in conference and I'm just sitting there like, okay, what am I picking up today? What am I going to learn today that I'm able to implement into my business right then and there. Right. And Tom Hegna jumps on, slays the training. And like 2.5 weeks after conference, I rolled an annuity for $500,000 and they paid me like 25 G's. Like, can you imagine if I wasn't there? You see what I mean? Like, and that's only one trainer. That's like, we have like 40, 50 trainers. Like, there's so many things that you can pick up. So like for me, I went to conference knowing it was a business event. Like, I wasn't going to have fun. Right? Like, if I wanted to go have fun with Brandon and some of these other guys, I just fly in some other weekend. I'm here to learn. I'm here to take things from these guys that have businesses that I want to have and be able to implement it into mine so I can grow and become whoever I want to become. You see what I mean? So like, number one, conference starts at 8, but like the last 3 conferences that I went to, like the line at 5:30 was already wrapped around the building. So like for me, if you show up at 8, because you go, hey, conference starts today, and you show up at 8, you're going to be sitting in the back. And I can almost assure you the information that you get from the back of the room is not the same as the information that's retained at the beginning, in the front of the room. Number one, right? Number two is, I would say, network. So like, meet people. And that's how you and I have actually met, right? We're not even in the same agency, but you get to meet people that you like, know, and trust, and you build relationships with them so that you get to bounce ideas off of one another. That might be different, because the way that you guys do it might be a little bit different than how we do it. And it is. And then you might go, hey, I like that. Let me put that into my business, right? So like, networking is a big deal. I would always say hanging out with people after the meeting is a big deal too, because that's where the ties come off. And you get to see Julius, not from the front of the room, but you get to see Julius as the regular human being, right? That's where you can have the conversations at dinner and get to pick his brain, or Clay or Nate or John or whoever on here. You get to be able to talk to them like a normal person, and they'll be able to give you that information. You see what I mean? So like, that's what I would suggest. Wake up early, go to bed late. It's only 3 days. No, drunk doesn't look good on anybody, right? So like, we're there to learn. And that's that. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think that's all spot on. A lot of times people think, it's a convention and it's a party, or, it's a time, like it's none of that, right? It's everything but that. So the last thing anyone should be doing is trying to find someone to go have a drink with after, because they're maybe visiting from out of town and, having, look, everyone's an adult, right? But just make smart decisions. I think what we're trying to say. And that's where, after my first conference, that's where I met John Gavin for the first time. And I met Frank Euphemia. And if you guys don't know who these guys are, they're agency leaders for some other organizations. But what was so key about those relationships was that at different points in my process, in my journey here at Family First Life, I reached out to these guys, and they would say something to me from a different perspective, from a different lens. that would help me see it so much clearer than even talking to Grady, right? And nothing against Grady, but it's like sometimes you have to hear it from another angle, from a different person, from another perspective for it to hit you right between the eyes. And that's what, if I didn't stay after and meet these guys and talk to them after the event, I would have never been able to do that. So it's important you guys find some people you can tap on the shoulder, befriend, and really get to know.
Right.
I think the other thing, Stephen, I think one thing that people need to take away from, or I shouldn't say take away, but they should plan for the event, right? What are some things maybe you've told your team or you do to plan for a convention? Because the last thing I want for everyone watching, whether they're in person or a replay, is for them to just show up at convention. I'm here, I'm taking notes, and I'm present, right? I think there's value in actually planning. What does that look like for you and your guys? And then I'll kind of piggyback off of that.
So one of the big things that we always talk about too, and like go with the purpose, right? So like if you're not if for example, like a brand new agent that hasn't been here yet, your sole goal is to become a 20, 30, 40K producer. And obviously you want to build an agency and do all that stuff too, but your goal is to make money. So like take notes to make money, right? And then for someone like, example, like you and I, where we are Hall of Fame producers and all that stuff, it's not that our notes are different, but it's like you and I will take a completely different note because we're at a different season in our business compared to the brand new agent. So like the question you have to ask yourself when you're taking notes or when you're at the event is, what am I trying to get here that I can implement right now? Kind of like what I talked about with that Tom Hegna thing. What can I learn right now that I can implement into my business that will make me money tomorrow? Right. So, for brand new agents, learning how to dial, learning how to do the in-home, learning about posture in the home, all that stuff is vital. Like I believe your topic is going to be money. Right. The other thing I can't
do that topic, but I'll take it.
Because you sell a lot of insurance. It's the reason why. But I'll say this, like the other thing is one of the major mistakes that I see, Julius, and people do this, is they take restroom breaks or they go on lunch when they're not supposed to. And in that very information that they need or they were seeking after, that was a speaker that was doing it. Like we have designated lunches and breaks for a reason, like go at that point. So for me, like talking about planning, it's like we will have an agenda and we'll see exactly what it is. And I'm very big on like not sharing notes and not, passing information along from one agent to the other, because number one, I feel like I'm hindering them. So like let's say I have an agent that doesn't go to conference and he goes, "Hey, can I have your notes?" My answer is no. And the reason why is because number one, if I gave him my notes, he'll never go to conference. And then number two is I'm in a different place in my business than that person is. Meaning like if he sat next to me in the conference, like if we all sat together next in conference and Sean Mike went up and trained and you looked at every single one of our pieces of paper, all the notes would be completely different because we are in a different place to receive it. Sean might say something that does not resonate with you and I, but with a brand new person, it does. And then he might say something that doesn't make any sense to them, but you and I are like, "Oh my gosh, this is the best thing we ever learned today." Yeah. Right. So everybody's in a different place in a different season. And that's the reason why, like, you got to plan out and figure out what do you need to get out of this. And when you can figure that out, then you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what you said there was so money, right? Number one, you go with a purpose, have intentionality, be hungry for the information, right? Like you want to go as if, that piece of meat, that information is going to completely transform your business in the next year, right? So what I did, and I don't know if you did anything like this, Stephen, but what I did every time I go into a convention, and I haven't done it just yet, but I kind of already have in the back of my mind what I'm looking for, is I'm asking myself, what are the 3 things that I need to improve on in my business, right? So when it was my first convention, I was trying to focus on how to become a 20K producer. So for me, it was, how do I make sure I have the right leads? How do I make sure I have enough leads and a diversity of them? What does that really look like for top performers? So anytime a top producer was on stage or talking, I would really zoom in and focus on that specific point of what they're talking about, because I knew that there was something transferable that I needed to take. The second thing is I knew overcoming objections was a real opportunity for me. So I was really focused on word tracks and doing, figuring out what they were doing to overcome objections, right? So for me, it was production in the beginning. And for many of you attending your first event, it's probably going to be production. Or maybe it's a hybrid of production and building, right? But have a purpose, figure out your challenges, figure out your opportunities, where you want to grow, if it's production, if it's building, if it's both, and have a few questions written out of things, of information you need. And then I would seek out those people that are where you want to be, right? I think, if you're looking to build, right, talking to Steven, he's going to be in Phoenix Convention. He's a great person to learn from, right? Talking to Clay's building at a high level, right? And other agency leaders that are growing really quick. What are they doing to grow? So I think it's having a plan, having purpose, being intentional, but then also really being hungry to seek that information, and really use it to make money, like you said.
Dude, it's like the elevator pitch, right? Like, let's say you and I, like, let's pretend I'm a brand new agent and I'm like, Julius is Hall of Fame, number one agent in Arizona, $500,000 agency, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is my 2 minutes in the elevator with him. Like, what can I ask him? I don't want to be like, hey, so no, like, you got to be able to know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So like you can say, hey, Julius, I know it's, you don't know who I am, but real quick question. What did you do? What are the 3 things you did that took you from 150,000 to 300,000? Like, you need to be that specific what you're looking for. And if you are, you'll get your answer.
Yep. That's so money, man. Like, I think a lot of times people forget that. They just start trying to go chat with them. No one wants to chat, right? You want to chat with your buddies, right? We're all business partners. There's only so much time that we can give. I think that's key, man. I literally just had a thought on top of my head. Oh, all right. So I think one thing that agents have to be mindful of is who they're taking advice from. Everyone wants to give people advice, right? And then when you're at convention, sometimes it's hard to differentiate who to actually, whose advice is valuable and whose advice is, I'm going to call it trash. Bear with me when I say trash, right? But like, maybe they don't have the credibility to be giving advice is really what I mean by that. What are your thoughts on that? And what are some tips you can give to the guys and girls on the call today about that?
So that's very important, right? We always say in our agency, it's not what you do, but it's also what you don't do. And like, the folks that don't write enough business are always willing to give advice. Like, always. Let me tell you what I did. Well, I never asked. You know what I mean? Like, so like Dominique Rogers, he's like upfront and blunt, and I like it, but I can't do it that way. But Dominique would always be like, hey, what's your name again? And then he'll look your name and be like, oh, so like you didn't issue very much business. Like, no, thank you. Like, I can't do that. But like, you got to ask people, because why would you ask someone that writes $5,000 or $7,000 a month how to write 30, 40? They're not going to be able to give you an answer, right? One of the major things is like the people on the stage, you should ask them questions, obviously. Or if they're talking about somebody, or you've seen their videos or whatever it is, you should ask them questions. But it's like, we always said in our groups, like, we're not trying to volunteer information to people that didn't ask. Yeah. It's unwarranted. So like, before you ask questions, sometimes it is a good idea, and you can do it nicer than the way that Dom does, right? Like, if I didn't know Julius, they'd be like, hey, Julius, man, what do you issue pay right now? What did you write last year? That's a nice way to indirectly find out, right? If he goes, oh, I wrote $500,000. I'm like, shoot, that's a good guy to ask about production. How big is your agency doing? Oh, what you guys do in December? Oh, we did $500,000. That's a good guy to ask about building business. Hey, how many agents do you have? 2. Got it. Like, not going to ask that guy about how to build an agency. You see what I mean? So like, there's nice ways to do it, but yeah, you got to be very careful of what advice you receive, because it can be the wrong advice.
Yep. So, and a lot of people are going to be willing to give you advice, right? Like Steven said. So just just ask them a question, right? How much production did you do last year? How much did you do last 90 days? Right? Maybe they're new, right? Just get an idea of where they're at, and you know where you are in relation to them, and then kind of determine if that's advice that's really going to help you get to where you want to go. So I got a quick funny story for you. I got an agent that I was talking to earlier today, and we were talking about convention, new to the team, coming over from another IMO, which will remain nameless. And he's going to be doing this full time. He's excited. He wants to build an agency, right? And I go to him, all right, hey, you're going to convention Thursday, right? Oh, no, I can't. I'm like, what? Why not? He's like, oh, it's sold out in Dallas. I'm like, all right, so fly to Phoenix. It's 2 hours away. Get on a flight, be here on Thursday, right? Guy goes to me, oh, no, I can't. I have other obligations. I got my other job I got to finish off. This is my last week there, and some other things.
That's the problem right there. It's your last week there, meaning you're not even going to be there.
Right? Like, what are you talking about, right? Like
you're not even trying to be there. You should be at conference then, if this is what you're trying to go full time with.
That's exactly what I said. And I was just so baffled, right? I'm like, wait, what? You're going to ride out your last week there, this is your last week, versus investing your time into your new career and your new business? Like, how does that make any sense?
Right.
And so I just wanted to share that because a lot of people have excuses on why they shouldn't go.
But the very reason why they have excuses that they shouldn't go is the reason why they need to go. So like people go, oh, I can't make it because I don't have any time. I can't be away from my daughter or my kids. Or like, hey, I can't go because of the money. I'm like, I understand exactly what you mean. And that's the reason why you have to go. Because that's how I was. My first conference that I went to, I had to stay in a room with 3 adult men that I didn't know, and we shared 2 beds. Like, it's weird, dude. You know what I mean? But I'm glad I went because
was it like head to toe weird, or like, what are we talking?
It was just like, I didn't know any of them. And that's another story. I almost got like kidnapped and robbed in Atlanta. Like, that was just not a bad gig.
Oh, wow.
It was a really bad gig, I should say. But it's like, I just did whatever I could to go. And then what happened was, like, I came out of the event at like 20 grand was easy. Right. And so like, the reason why you can't go is the reason why you have to go. I don't have time with my kids. Right. How long have you been saying that? So like, if I can show you a way that you can learn everything that we can so that, a year from now you have all the time with your kids, would it be worth it? Of course it would. Then that means you got to go. You know what I mean? Like, the reason why you don't want to is the reason why you have to.
Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. I wish I would have said that to him. Honestly, I almost think I need to call him and go, listen, you said the wrong thing to you. Let me tell you real quick. I just heard this from Steven. It made so much sense. So I might actually do that, to be honest with you.
Dude, you should. Follow up, right? Fortune's in the follow up.
For sure. All right, man. Last thing I want to ask you. Just looking back at convention, the conventions that you've been to, what would you say is the impact overall it's had on you as let's call it an entrepreneur, but also a business owner here at FFL? Like, what outside of like that one point or the comment you made earlier where you heard about Tom Hegna, but I'm talking in reference to like overall, what has convention done for you, your business, your family? Like, what impact lasting has it made for you?
So I'll share this. Like Brandon Kitchings, he said it. He was so money when he said it, right? Like last year we had 2 guys cross the stage. It was me and Will Lohr, and Will crossed for like 112 and I crossed for like 230. And like Brandon didn't cross the stage because he was so new with us. Mm-hmm. And like all Brandon said was like, I don't care what I do. Next conference, I'm walking. Right. And Brandon wrote 330 this year. Like, he should have been at 4, but it's okay. 330 is not bad for a second year in the business. And so like for some of you guys there, like if you didn't learn anything from conference, which is hard, but let's just say that was the case, but you saw yourself on Saturday night going, I'm going to walk the stage. Sean's going to call my name for this number, and that's going to be me. Like if you just saw yourself doing that, that'd be huge. And I'm very competitive in that way. Like, I don't run for money. Like it just doesn't do it for me, but sometimes people run for recognition. Right. So that was huge. Like, if you see all these people getting the red jackets, like yourself and Clay and some of these other guys, you're like, I don't know what the red jacket is, but I want it.
Mhm.
And if that's what it did for you, then that's what it did for you. What conference did was after conference last year, I went VP very next month, no questions asked. I was so far away, and then we hit it in March, and then business blew up. Like I'm not even worried about volume right now because like we're trying to catch up from the holidays. We're trying to promote into conference. Schedules are all whacked out. I'm like, dude, I'm not worried. Like in March, April, May, we'll somehow be $1 million agency, and it's like we already know it because of what's going to happen. What has it done for me? Like kind of like what I just said. The reason why I couldn't go or made excuses not to go is the reason why I did, and it's what I have now. You know what I mean? Like I have to close the door because if not, my daughter's going to try to jump on the Zoom meeting with us, right? Like I get to be able to spend time with her, even though I missed earlier part when she was like 2, 3, 4 months old. That's what you have. That's the lasting impact is like you get to sacrifice now. You see the vision, you do the work, you get rewarded, and then in a year or two, you be able to have the result that you wanted. That's what convention did for me.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I think for me, looking back at convention, my first convention, I would actually say my second convention. So my first convention, I was there and I got a check, right? So I got a check. And if you guys don't know, there's a producer bonuses that they give at the end of the year, which they're going to be giving checks out during the award ceremony. So Steven's talking about the award ceremony that happens Saturday evening. It's the last part of the event. You guys don't want to miss that. That's probably the biggest part of the event, that it's less about training, but that recognition and what it looks like, feels like, and if you're missing out on it, is so encouraging and motivating and inspiring. It's insane. And so the year prior, I was at convention. It was my first full year. I did 200 and just shy of 280 in my first year. And I remember being at the award ceremony thinking, I'm not that far away and all these guys did it. Why can't I? And I'm going to be a Hall of Famer next year. Like I thought to myself, I'm going to, and I came back and made a definitive goal. And by March, I was already at 120K. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So I was already ahead of the curve. So for me, it was just, it elevated my belief so much, Steven, that from a production standpoint, and then just understanding on the building side, having people that I now had in my network, that I now had on, speed dial, really to help me build, really just kind of elevated everything. So.
And see, there's going to be some person in here that goes, I don't need the rah-rah. I don't need that. Well, here's what you do need. You need living proof that all these people are making money and you can too. Like that's what it did. That's why for me, like Saturday is a big deal. I have an agent that can't make it. She's like, hey, I can only make 2 days of conference. I'm like, okay, cool. So like Friday, Saturday, for sure you have to be there. Right. Cause I'm like on Saturday, if she just saw herself walk that stage next year, she'll be a top producer, whether Hall of Fame or whatever, is up to her. Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, kind of like you said, right? You're sitting there and going, all right, cool. Like that red jacket is mine next year. Mm-hmm. Don't know what I got to do, but I'll do it. Like some people just need that. Or some people come from a company, kind of like the guy that you were talking about, where if you wrote 200 grand, you were the number one guy. And then like you sit in our recognition and you go, Steve Giordano wrote what? By himself. How much? You wrote over how much with Americo? Like he wrote by Americo. Like the number was crazy. I don't want to spoil it, but like it was insane. And it's like, okay, like he didn't write any annuities, straight life, right? Like you start picking up these things and you go, this is where I need to be because the lid is so high that it's the 4-minute mile. I got to catch up, So like back then, 20 grand a month was the norm. Now it's like 40. Yeah. And that's what you guys will understand. And that's how it's going to change your life. So, but yeah, man, that's the recognition part. It's for you, even though you don't want to be there.
Yep. 100%. So the award ceremony, it's the last part of our event. Make sure you do not miss it. You need to be there no matter what location you're going to be at. Be there Saturday evening. Steven, thanks, man, for jumping on with us today. Thanks for sharing what you've taken away and what you're telling your agents about convention. And I'm sure our guys here really took a lot out of it, because this is really what it's about, man. It's sharing what we've learned and inspiring, motivating, and helping others come with us. And So thank you for jumping on and sharing, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I look forward to meeting a lot of you guys this upcoming week. So let's have a good one.
Awesome, man. We'll see you in Phoenix here in a few days.
Yes, sir.
All right, you guys, thanks for jumping on the call. And let's finish off Dial Day strong. If you are still out there booking appointments, you haven't finished your dial session for the day, jump on the live dial team, ffldialteam.com. Let's all go out there and crush it. Let's have a big week before we go out to convention. I look forward to meeting you guys all in Phoenix. Take care. Bye for now.